I am marking this official, folks. We are in the great video game crash of 2024, and things are going to get worse before I feel that they get better.
Why does this generation feel like it has nothing?
This is modern gaming. Don't be fooled by those who claim it's never been a better time to be a gamer. Gaming is not fun. It's an obligation.
I want to talk to you guys today about why I don't play video games anymore.
At first, I assumed I was just unmotivated, or maybe even burnt out. But over time, I came to realize that I just wasn't enjoying games anymore.
This is the absolute worst console generation of all time.
If there is one gaming trend that really baffles me the last couple years, it's the trend where tons of YouTube channels are constantly releasing videos complaining that there are no games to play this generation, that gaming is not fun anymore, that the 9th generation is one of the worst of all time. So for this video, I want to talk about why I not only disagree with this sentiment, but also why I believe this generation has been amazing so far. And all it might take is just a shift in perspective. The reason I find it so crazy is because we are coming off one of the best years in gaming. 2023 was an amazing year, which is actually a topic I want to talk about. Because in one of the videos I watched, a YouTuber called RGT85, a pretty big YouTuber with 500,000 subscribers, but he had this to say about anyone that thought 2023 was a great year in gaming.
When people are saying that 2023 was like the best year ever in gaming, I don't take you seriously. I understand that it's just your opinion. I understand that everyone's opinion is going to be different than other people's opinions. That's fine. But I can't take you seriously because I feel like you didn't experience certain generations. You didn't experience the 16-bit wars. You didn't experience the 32-bit wars. You didn't experience the PS2, Xbox, GameCube era because, bro, you were just swimming in brand new stuff every freaking month.
Bro, come on. It's just bizarre to assume anyone that enjoyed last year isn't old enough to understand and didn't grow up with the older generations. He says he's 39 years old and I'm also 39 years old. So I also grew up with those generations as well. Super Nintendo is still in my top 3 consoles of all time. 2023, in my 39-year-old opinion, was an amazing year for games. And I don't find the year having a few remakes a detriment either. These remakes don't have to detract from our favorite franchises. They can be a bonus or even revive older franchises. A lot of these people that hate remakes and remasters and argue against them will also say in their next sentence that they're playing a lot of old games lately, but won't give any new franchise a shot. I think it's awesome that we're getting Resident Evil 4 Remake, and we still got Village, and we're gonna get Resident Evil 9 in the next year or so. I think it's the best of both worlds. And just one more thing about the age thing. Why does it matter? As time goes on, less and less people are going to be old enough to be able to say they played the PS1 or like the PS2. My daughter's growing up and her first generation really is the PS5. So when is that argument going to end? And it's not just younger people saying 2023 was amazing. Just look at Johnny over at Happy Console Gamer. He just turned 50 and he loved everything that came out last year. Listen to this.
So many RPGs this year that I can say I was not disappointed. I feel that we were spoiled. I really do. I think 2023 is a year where we all got spoiled so much.
Stand back, Temenos.
But I know every single year I always say, oh my god, this year we got too many great games. This was too much this year. I'm being honest with you when I say this year was too much. Was way too much. I could hardly keep up, but I had a good time trying.
Well done.
But this year for me was overwhelming for video games. It was. I hadn't ever dealt with a year like this, where it was just AAA, AAA, AAA coming out. And I'm just like, trying to take them all along. I can't believe I did it. I just gunned the games to get through them. And still, I barely got through, but I had a great time. What a year.
I 100% agree with Johnny here. Last year, it felt like there were so many games coming out that I felt like I couldn't even keep up. And whenever I saw a game getting delayed, it was actually a bit of relief. For me personally, 2023, more so than a lot of other years, was one of the years that I was unable to go back to my backlog because there were so many new games. Remember when Alone in the Dark was delayed to 2024 because it was within one of the busiest Octobers in years? Or when Alan Wake 2 moved back just 1 week to avoid Spider-Man 2 because the schedule was so packed? And that's what I think it comes down to. 1, 2023 was filled with so many games that whenever we get a year that's slightly less busy like 2024, people think it's a down year. It's not that it's a down year at all, it's just that people are in a 2023 hangover. What these people can do is, try out different games. Maybe stop playing multiplayer games, stop playing live service games, stop playing pay to win, mobile, anything else. Look for games that remind you of the old times. We're literally spoiled with modern retro games. If you're craving the past, we are in a golden age of modern retro games. For smaller indie games like Alyssa, Crow Country, Conscript, and Nuclear Blaze, being a few games that could have come out 4 generations ago. Imagine being an indie developer and hearing people complain that there are no games to play. I'm sure they're out there just begging for people to find their game. Now I want to switch gears and play a clip from a video titled, "What Happened to the 9th Generation?" and I'll react afterwards.
Why does this generation feel like it has nothing? How does that make any sense? Well, the answer starts getting more clear when we look at every hit this generation's had so far. There's a problem. Do you see it? Hold on, let me remove every game that was made primarily for the previous generation. Now let's remove every game that's considered a better playing experience on the PC. And last but not least, let's remove every remake or remaster of an existing game. The list is dramatically smaller, isn't it? I mean, if these games...
Seriously, bro. I don't understand this line of thinking where people, just because it came out on PS4, suddenly the PS5 copy is just nothing, like just go throw it in the trash. Or just because it comes out on PC a couple years later, somehow that exclusive on PS5 was, you played it a couple years ago, but fuck that game. I guess Elden Ring and Baldur's Gate 3 are just eliminated because they're on multiple systems.
But this generation's games are actually a bigger problem than you'd think when we compare them to the previous generations, specifically the Xbox 360, PS3, and Wii generation. These consoles released before social media was even a thing, yet here's the games they released during the same amount of time as the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X. That's pretty wild, right?
Personally, I don't find that crazy. I think it's more crazy the algorithm you've created to eliminate all these games, as if you're showing that there's only 5 games that came out last year. Really? Or not last year, this generation. You guys notice how he's comparing 3 consoles to 2? In his 7th generation game image, he's using games from the Xbox 360, PS3, and the Wii. But for the 9th generation game image, he's only pulling from the Xbox Series X and the PS5. And we all know how lackluster Xbox has been this generation, so it's basically PS5 versus all 3 7th generation consoles. I don't see how that's fair. Also, why does he take the time to eliminate games that perform better on the PC for the 9th generation, but not for the 7th generation? I'm going to use a similar algorithm or method that Mr. Goose used in his video to eliminate games that came out in the 7th generation, just so we can even up the odds a little bit. First step is to eliminate the duplicate Dead Rising that he included. Then I'm going to go ahead and remove the 3 Wii games. Since the Switch wasn't included in the 9th generation example, I don't think it's fair that the Wii is included in this example. Then let's remove the 2 games that also had last gen ports in Rock Band and Fight Night Round 3. And last but not least, let's go ahead and mark all the games in this image that also have PC versions as well. It's not even a question that Fallout 3, Oblivion, Left 4 Dead, and the Orange Box ran much better on PC. Also, Gears of War had a PC port which included exclusive content, so that definitely has the best version. But as you can see, now his 7th generation list of games has drastically shrank, just from using the same method that he used. And in the end, that leaves us with only 9 games, which are some awesome games, don't get me wrong. Gears of War 2 and Dead Rising are 2 of my favorite games of all time, but it's not the landslide victory that he's trying to present. And I'm actually going to help out Goose here a little bit, because he didn't even include 3 of my favorite PS3 games that released in the first 4 years of the PS3's life cycle. Let's go ahead and add Demon Souls, Metal Gear Solid 4, and Uncharted Drake's Fortune. Now we're sitting at 12 games total. I also want to add in a bunch of games that I've played during this generation that I thought were awesome games. These first 6 games are actually only on the 9th generation and PC, so they don't have last gen ports at all. Ghostwire Tokyo, The Medium, A Plague Tale Requiem, Hi-Fi Rush, Talos Principle 2, and Miasma Chronicles. And the rest of these games are 9th generation with last gen ports. Callisto Protocol, Marvel Midnight Suns, Guardians of the Galaxy, The Quarry, Resident Evil Village, Tales of Arise, Dead Island 2, Bramble: A Mountain King, Liza P, Horizon Forbidden West, Amnesia the Bunker, and Hogwarts Legacy. These are all amazing games that came out just this generation. This whole screen of games could keep almost any gamer busy for a whole generation. So I'd say that's a pretty damn good deal.
Sounds like a good deal.
Sounds like a good deal to me.
And while we're on the topic of games being left out, I gotta ask, is there a good reason why the Nintendo Switch games were left out of his 9th generation examples? I don't know, maybe it's because he couldn't fit all these awesome Switch games on the screen, so they ended up leaving them out. Yeah, that's gotta be it. I think the perfect strategy for PlayStation is having the exclusive and then releasing it to PC a couple years later. I think that's an amazing strategy. Because then I get to talk about it with my PC friends. I think that's fun. And PC and console crowds are literally different. I buy console because I like to sit on the couch. I like the ease of just plugging in the console, having that PlayStation Network or Xbox Live experience. I don't want to deal with the settings of a game on PC. Yes, I will from time to time. If it's not on console, or like I like to play Alan Wake on PC because it's the best version. But like if I can, I'm gonna play on console. It just makes way more sense to me. And most PS5 owners aren't gonna care if a game is on PC as well. They're just gonna care if the game is on the console that they spent money on. That's all they care about. They just want to experience the game. And I personally, I'm not sitting there watching a trailer thinking, man, this fucking looks awesome. And then at the end when it shows PS5, PS4, suddenly I'm not excited about it. That just doesn't make sense. And I think most of us can agree that the recent announcement of the PlayStation 5 Pro being $700 without a disk drive is pretty ridiculous. But when most of the comments I see below are, where are the games, where are the games? And Astro Bot just came out a couple weeks ago, and it's one of the best games of the year. Are these people even looking for new games, or are they just on here complaining? Because if they were true gamers, they'd be out there finding the games to play. I honestly wonder, are gamers that care so much about what system a game comes out on, do they see a game and instantly go to the internet just to see if the game is on last gen? Do they not just get excited based off the game trailer or screenshots that they're seeing?
Jetzt geht's los! Jetzt geht's los! Jetzt geht's los! Spielen! Du Wichser! Spielen!
What I do find a problem is when one of the best games of 2024 is selling below expectations because it's a console exclusive. Don't get me wrong, I like knowing my console is super special and my gamer schlong is bigger than everyone else's.
Now that is a big boner.
But I don't like the feeling of Final Fantasy VII Rebirth not performing well enough to guarantee it's going to get its third game. Anyone thinking the third game is guaranteed is way too trusting of these publishers, especially Square Enix, who just cancels games if they don't sell tens of millions of copies. In retrospect, I actually wish Final Fantasy VII Rebirth came out on PS4 as well. I just want that game to be successful, because I've fallen in love with the first two games, and if we never got the third game, it would be so gut-wrenching. And for my final point, I just want to remind everyone that pretty much all of the PS4 exclusives that the industry talks about today that define the PS4 hadn't even released until the 5th year of the PS4's life cycle. So if that happens again for this generation, we have a lot to look forward to. I personally find myself overwhelmed with the amount of games releasing each year. And my backlog continues to grow each and every month. I want to ask you guys, what do you guys think of this recent trend that's going on over the past couple years, where people are complaining that there are no games to play, or that games aren't fun anymore? My personal favorite videos that I ever make on this channel are video game countdowns. And ever since the beginning of this generation, I've made top 10 games of the year every year. So if you're looking for some awesome games to play, definitely check out my top 10 games of the year from last year, and even go back to 2020 if you want. I bet you'll find some pretty awesome games to play. But with that said, thanks again for watching, and until next time, stay in the light, my friends. Later.